I don't think you're gonna know.
Hello, and on this special episode, as always, joined by my co-host Alamir.
Hello.
And for the first time on this podcast, the guy who's on almost every podcast I'm on with Alan, John Seiler.
Oh boy.
So last, at the end of season 1, we watched the Aquaman pilot with current TV superstar Justin Hartley. That also had Ving Rhames and Lou Diamond Phillips. And the bad guy of the week was none other than Adrianne Palicki.
As a siren.
As a siren. And this time we watched the failed 2011 Wonder Woman pilot starring Adrianne Palicki. Also starring this cast is one of the things that was the most mind-blowing to me.
Well, first, there's a reason that I think I know why.
Oh, why the cast is? Oh, there's an absolute reason.
Well,
and that's the writer-producer of it.
Yeah, David Kelley.
Yeah. The guy who created Ally McBeal, David E. Kelley, wrote and produced this pilot.
He created Picket Fences, Chicago Hope, The Practice, Ally McBeal, Boston Public, Boston Legal.
Well, he was a lawyer. That's why he has all those legal shows.
And on Harry's Law.
Oh, was that also one of his shows? Oh, yes, it was.
Yeah, that's why they brought. That's why.
Okay, that makes a lot more sense when we get to that. He was also married to Michelle Pfeiffer for a while. But because of David E. Kelley, which is how they got the rest of this crazy cast, which features Cary Elwes as the, I don't even know what you would call his character, like kind of like the Perry White. Like he's in like the Flash, the Flareverse, I would say he's like the Harrison Wells / Joe figure. Like he's like the older kind of.
He's Henry Devmer.
Yes. You know who he is in this? He's what's his name from Buffy, the librarian.
Giles.
Yeah, that's the kind of character they're giving him, and he doesn't have a comic book connection.
Yeah, and Cary Elwes is like too good for this.
I don't know. He did like a bunch. Like he had a recurring role on Psych, like every like year or so that he would pop up. Like he hasn't really done a whole lot. But
sure. I'm just saying as like.
Oh no, I love him, and I think he's great whenever he does anything. He's fine in the show. He's not the problem.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
So
like, to be fair, like I don't think like any of the actors are like kind of the problem with this because
I think they're doing the best they can with what they got.
Yeah, like it's like the bones are already like cancerous.
Can I mention who? Can I just say who they got to play Steve Trevor?
Yes, please. Because I was like, I recognize this guy from something. What is he from? And I had to look it up.
The reboot of Knight Rider.
Oh god. Yeah, he's also somebody. I guess he's like a big Grey's Anatomy guy.
I thought for like a split second, I thought he was Arrow.
You thought it was Stephen Amell?
I thought it was Stephen Amell for like a quick second because it looks like him if you're like looking out of the corner of your eye and you're like, wait, what? I'm like,
well, I think that's one of the things we could do with this is like compared to like Arrow. I would say we can compare this to Arrow and we compare this to Smallville. And I'm trying to think what else came out around the same time. Well, Smallville was way before, but
Smallville just ended the year prior.
Yeah, but I mean, like shows that got like the pilot episodes of those shows, because like this probably has of all of the the superhero shows has the strongest cast.
Oh my god! I actually didn't realize Arrow's been on TV since 2012.
Yeah, it's in its 8th season.
Yeah, I like. Well,
no, it's in season 7. It got renewed for season 8.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. They like when they were doing the Wonder Woman pilot. Would have been like around the time they were also playing Arrow.
Yes, and to be fair, this was for NBC, which also created what I'm trying to think how many years. It was after season 2 of Arrow when the next round of DC TV shows came out, which would be Flash, Gotham, and then NBC had Constantine.
Yeah,
which also failed after one season.
There was there was actually a Smallville type show in development. Like
the Batman one?
No. It was called Amazon. Or Amazon, something like that. And it was actually in development before Arrow and all that. Something that actually happened when Mark Pedowitz first joined, or first, like in the early days of the CW.
I completely forgot Constantine was on at NBC.
Yep, because that's the two shows that NBC had.
They also had Powerless.
Oh, that was like 3 episodes, wasn't it? And that was it?
Yeah. That show is like such a bummer. Because I was like kind of excited for like workplace show in the DCU, and it's just
that's actually a great show
so
to compare this to, because it kind of had some of the same issues where stuff kind of leaked online. This was kind of the first early of that, because that really hurt the show early on. So we have the online, so I think we'll go through the casting as we go through the episode, but so when it first was like kind of announced, the suit that they were originally going to go with leaked, which is, if you're looking at the images I post, it's the last one, which is the blue rubber pants and blue rubbery boots. Where she looks, it's kind of like a latexy suit.
Yeah.
And they got destroyed for this suit.
It's a bad suit.
I was trying some of the things that were said about it, which I just have to say about, where people, they said it was trash. It was too trashy and too bad porny.
Yeah, that's the one I just quote, like, box quoted.
Yeah, it was from the Hollywood Reporter, and then they actually talked about it when the people from Project Runway said it was shiny, cheap, and tacky.
I mean, I think it's like if you have had this suit in like the 2000s, like this would have been like peak Kate Beckinsale Underworld. And I feel like that's what they were like trying to kind of get at, was like tight leather pants, or like, or a spandexy kind of thing, like form fitting, like a Matrix or an Underworld kind of thing. But it's just the colors are just
that's exactly what it is. It's the colors just show all of the flaws in it. Like black hides all of those flaws, while like the blue and the red just like show because we end up with the same top. And she looks great. Like I'm not going to say anything. Like she looks gorgeous. Like she looks fine. I actually think that the changes they made were good. Like the suit that we end up with, like the change in the pants and boots, I think look way, way better. And actually in my copy that I was watching, it actually said that they were going to touch up in VFX and make the pants darker.
Yeah, I actually wrote that note down.
And I was like, I'm like, that's kind of cool that this is in here. I still don't. When we'll get to it when we get in the episode, I still don't understand the third costume and why that's a thing, except that it's an homage, but like I don't understand why it exists. But I think we could start actually going through the episode. So it starts in some sort of a weird, why was it sepia? Like, I don't understand. So we're with this like black family in LA where this kid is getting a scholarship, which, if you don't know, that kid was also on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., which also starred Adrianne Palicki.
Woof.
Yes. He was actually awesome on that show, too. He was only like the first 2 seasons.
Mm-hmm.
And he actually played the great-grandson of one of the Howling Commandos.
Oh, she's Mockingbird on S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yes. She was Mockingbird. She's currently on Orville.
Yeah, I've heard people say that show is like not bad.
Yeah.
But like I
don't think she's bad. She's good in John Wick.
Yeah. Well, no, and like it also said that she was in G.I. Joe Retaliation, which she is. that movie's like not bad. It's not as bad as the
Yeah.
first one.
She's
It's
the other girls. It's her and it's what's her name that played Elektra
Yeah.
in the Daredevil TV show. Like I haven't seen anything with her where she's horrible in it. She just is like this what is her name that was in the Transformers TV show and in the Josh Whedon TV show with Nathan Fillion. Is it
Firefly.
Yeah, what's the girl that's like the young kid in Firefly?
I
don't
only
remember.
seen, like an episode of Firefly.
That actress has been in like 50 different, not 50, but she's been in a ton of, like, she was like kind of like an It TV girl, like woman for a while. Because she was in the Sarah Connor Chronicles. She was the Terminator. And every show she did got canceled after she was on it.
Yeah.
Which she also appeared on Arrow for a season.
You're talking about Summer Glau and how I was watching a video from like a few, like 2013, 2014. Someone just bluntly asked Stephen Amell, so how'd you break the curse with Summer Glau?
Oh yeah, like it was a thing for a while, which I think Adrianne Palicki kind of had that for a while too. Because she had this pilot. She was supposed to have a spin-off of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., which is a pilot that we will never ever see because there's not even a hint that it's even ever been shared by anybody because it was that bad.
Yeah, it was going to be her.
It was a spin-off with her and her ex-husband character.
With Dominic Fortune.
Yes. And that got canceled. She was in, like we said, the Aquaman pilot, which never made it, which at least they put online and on DVDs and stuff. They don't even have this anywhere. This is only on Daily Motion was where I found it.
I mean, I haven't seen the Aquaman. I haven't seen the Aquaman pilot, but I assume it's like at least in a professional state. While this is like, there's a fight scene later where the wires are still hooked onto the actors, like they.
Oh yeah. This is like pre VFX because like that's the only version that has come online. The Aquaman was this fully rendered like pilot. So like I'm kind of ignoring some of that stuff in this episode. The Aquaman one is much more. It's trying to be Smallville, but it's like he's older. He's already out of high school, so he's like 18 or no, he's at least like 21 in the show, and it's just really awkward and like beach bro-y. But everybody who's acting it, like you watch that episode and you're like, oh, Justin Hartley has a thing where this guy could definitely be like a real actor, which shows he's on like a hit television show now as one of the leads. But we can go back to this first episode. This cold opening threw me off so bad. I actually thought I was watching the wrong thing. Because it's like this black family, the kid's opening a letter getting into school, and
it starts bleeding from the eyes and ears.
Yes, but it's also in this weird tone. Like it's in like a sepia, which is weird. So I don't know why they either shot it in that or they put some weird filter on it. I was like, oh, is this like a flashback to like the 70s or something? And then it's like, no, this is current day for some reason. And then we cut to the chase scene where we get our first introduction.
Which I think it's like funny because you hear the police saying like, oh, like, you know, Wonder Woman's on chase, but the perp seems to have like superhuman speed, and it's just like him running
like shoving
like
people.
A regular speed. Yeah.
Is it the police or a reporter? It's like a newscopter.
It could be either or. I think
Yeah.
It makes more sense if it was a reporter.
Yeah, and that chase scene, I like checked it because I kept fast forwarding through it. It lasts like a solid minute. Like it is a solid minute of the two of them running through streets.
Yeah, and it's like weird because like so she chases after this guy, catches him, gets his blood, and the cops are like, like shaking their finger at Wonder Woman, like, "Oh, you gotta give this to him." She's like, "He'll lawyer up." I'm like, "What are you, Batman?" It was like weird. It was like this is the first time you see Wonder Woman, and it's just odd. It's an odd way
Yeah.
of like showing her
Well,
off.
I think that initial action, like, or what you're talking about with the cops, I was like, this is setting up a weird thing where she's like a vigilante, like that's like against the cops and everybody. It was like very weird, like the relationship they were trying to create with her and like the world,
Mm-hmm.
which I will get to the other part of that in a minute or when we get to it. But like, it just like, I don't like, I guess some of like the chase scene was good, but like it's the like I want to say it's like the colors, but then the flash is super bright red, but like it just looks super goofy. Like I don't know what it is, if like the physicality of like some of the stuff was also like not great. Like the choreography, like when she put her hand on his like chest, I was like, she's supposed to be like holding him down because she looks like she's just like
Yeah, I
putting
mean,
this vapor rub on him.
it feels like it was done by a guy who's not very well versed within action scenes.
Yeah, and I looked up, like, he's a guy that's been in a million things. Like, he's like one of those kind of guys.
And I was like talking about like the director for the episode.
Oh, the
Like,
director. Okay.
yeah, because I was just gonna say like the choreography of the fights and just like stuff like that was just like I don't know. Which is funny because this guy did Power Ranger episodes.
Yeah, but did he
I'm
do
like,
like when they were just talking to each other? Because I mean, they had somebody else direct all the action.
I don't know. But now that I see that this guy did Power Rangers, it makes me. It's like now I'm revisiting everything. I'm like, God, that was like a giant Power Rangers episode.
Oh, yeah, that actually makes a lot of sense because it is very much that. So after this, she shoves him over. We get this. I don't even know how you would call it.
A
Title?
montage.
But no, we get
Yeah, the title screen.
Yes. Oof. Oof. Oof.
It's a bad logo.
Know, I don't know what they're going for with this thing. It's like 70s in all of the wrong ways, and also kind of clip arty. Like the font is not good. It's very boring.
The eagle is bad.
It looks like dog shit.
Yeah.
Like I get that it matches the design on her suit, but it's like you could make it look better. Like everyone can see that, like, oh, the thing on her suit's gonna look a little goofy because it's like on clothing, and it's like it's doing too much. Because like I think about like the Flash and Arrow one, it's literally just like a lightning bolt with Flash. The Arrow one is an arrowhead. It says Arrow.
The logo has no texture also to it.
Yes,
super just sleek.
I'm trying to remember what the Smallville one looks like offhand, because I think it's literally just the word Smallville, like in a font, and that's like all it is. Yeah. I just like it's so terrible. So now after this is when we go to her compound when she shows up to her headquarters?
Yeah, well, and then you also get like a montage of all these different like TV show hosts and reporters basically talking about, you know, Wonder Woman and who she is. And it's like this is also like at the time where you realize it's like, oh, like Diana and Wonder Woman are the same person, because we know that, but like that's like a thing that like this world knows.
Yeah, but that it also is the specific name they have her with. But yeah, this is where we get Nancy Grace.
Yeah, and I was just like, oh, dude, if like Nancy Grace has your back, then you're doing something wrong.
Yeah, it's Nancy Grace, Dr. Phil, and there's like a bunch of other fake people. Those two playing themselves in this world, which Dr. Phil is like against her, and Nancy Grace is for her.
Yeah. Did you catch the line from one of the reporters talking about her using her lasso?
Oh, was she? Is it the? Uh, oh my God, was it the one where it's like Abu Ghraib?
Yes.
Oh my God, that stood out to me so
This
much.
reporter, they play a scene of her like throwing her lasso and catching the guy by the neck and then dragging him over, and the reporter is like, she graved her quarry, and I was like, what?
That is something really weird. For those who don't know, that was like the U.S. scandal when they were like torturing prisoners in Afghanistan, I believe,
Yes.
and like humiliating them.
Yes, and like this reporter like uses it as a way to describe Wonder Woman positively, and I'm just like, who wrote this line?
And not just that, like it's weird in 2019. In 2011, that is bonkers. Like,
Well, in 2011, it was already like dated, like
oh
Abu
yeah,
Ghraib.
it's dated, but it's also like closer to everything. At least, like
Yeah,
Afghanistan being still like a major news topic.
it's and like this all happens within like 5 minutes of the episode, and it's just like it like just sets the tone for what you're about to see.
All right, and I think so. From here, we get which I can spend a million years on, which is so she takes her Quinjet to the top of her Themyscira Industries building, and everybody refers to her as Diana Themyscira. And this is the office where Cary Elwes is the like CEO, and trying to find her name. Tracy Toms is her secretary or assistant.
Etta Candy.
Yes, it's her assistant. Now, Etta Candy is a comic book character.
Yeah. Do you want to describe who Etta Candy was in the original comics?
I don't actually even remember her from the original comics. I know her from like the New 52 current Rebirth run, which she's interesting.
Oh,
What is she in the original?
in the original comics, she's like this fat girl who loves candy. Like it was like Batman has Robin and Superman has Superboy. Like we gotta give her uh like a sidekick, and it's like this fat girl who likes candy, and it's just like, oh, okay. And that's why like you see her in the new movie, and it's like this really cool reintroduction, and then that book Legend of Wonder Woman a couple years ago with that was done by Renee Deliz, like kind of reinvents her in this really cool way. But yeah, it was just like uh Etta Candy is like one of those old like kind of characters where you're just like, man, I'm glad they reinvented her.
Yeah, which actually is funny because the reinvention actually takes a lot from the show. Is where after the show is how they reinvented her, and she's kind of more like it's like this character. So she is like a younger black woman. I don't know. In currently, she is gay, and part of the reveal is that she's I think in Argus or in the military, and she also has romantic feelings for Wonder Woman, and she also had a relationship with Barbara Minerva before she became Cheetah.
Mm-hmm.
In I believe they added all that stuff in Rebirth, but she's kind of like this high level military figure currently.
Cool.
So yeah, they did completely reinvent the character, and part of it is they designed her more after Tracy Toms. Kind of apparently, like they took inspiration from that to like reinvent that character.
Mm-hmm.
But
I mean, there was one good thing that came out of this.
But let's just stick for a second on why is she. Well, one, why does everybody know who she is? Why is her name Diana Themyscira? And why is she run a goddamn corporation? And how does that even work?
And if she's running a corporation, how is she a vigilante against the law, like going against the law when it's like completely like it's illegal. So easy for the cops. Yeah, it's so easy for the cops to be able to like arrest her if they wanted to, but it's just like, oh, like, well, we can't. It's like, yeah, it makes no sense.
Well, it's not just that. It's like, oh, so she has a corporation. So anytime she commits like vigilante justice, people would just sue her to death because they know who she is and she has a corporation in the United States. It makes no goddamn sense.
To quote the great film Suburban Commando, starring Hulk Hogan, "What are you gonna do? Fight me? Nah, man. It's the '90s. We're gonna sue you."
Yeah, which actually becomes part of the dumbness of this episode.
It is in fact it's like not even dumb, because there's like things that happen later on in the episode we'll talk about that it's like, yeah, of course you would, like, this should happen to you, Wonder Woman, and it's just like, but it's like played for like, oh, she's just a badass.
Which
It's just,
like, all right, so she is the CEO of Themyscira Industries. What do? Because they have, like, when she lands, 6 of these Quinjet looking things on the roof.
yeah, what do they do?
They make toys, apparently, which we can get to that scene in a little bit, but, like,
what do they monetize, do? They quote unquote monetize her tits, as she says.
Oh my god! Yes. Well, we'll get to that scene. We're not quite to that scene yet. Because first we have the first thing that happens. So we have this where Cary Elwes and Tracy or Etta Candy and what's Cary Elwes? Oh, Henry Detmer. So he's like the day-to-day operations guy. And that's Cary Elwes' character. So they have some conversation about stuff, and she has all these meetings. Then she's like getting changed and looking for her glasses. This is where she sees Dr. Phil shitting on her on the TV. And then they're like, oh, why don't you just stay here? You have like an early meeting. And she's like, no, like, you know, sometimes I need to be human. So she puts on glasses and like ties her hair up and is now Diana Prince.
Yeah, because when you put yourself in a ponytail and glasses, you're just a regular person.
Yeah, like, I get that they're going for like the Superman Clark Kent thing, and she goes and gets her mail, and her cat's name is Sylvester.
But it's like also just like peak 90s, like, this is how we're gonna make her frumpy.
Oh, except that this is 2011.
Yeah.
But yeah, exactly. But like, all right, so she's Wonder Woman and Diana Themyscira to the world, and then her actual comic book name, Diana Prince, at home to nobody. And then she's gonna, you know, finally make a Facebook profile, which is part of like the Diana Prince thing. And she just sits there and eats popcorn or chips and watches The Notebook.
Yeah, because she's not. It's like, how do you have like a giant company and at that point like not know how to be human?
Exactly, which we'll get to. Like, I think we can get to when we get to the end, talk about like what she is. But is this where we get the flashback to her and Steve Trevor when she's watching The Notebook? Which, oh my god, this is.
Oh, it's cringe. It's
like, if people complain about like the relationship stuff on like a CW show, this is infinitely worse. This is so bad.
It's also just like super cliched, because it's just
it's like, oh, we can't have her.
We can't be together because, like, I don't want my enemies to hurt you. I'm like, who? The lady who runs like the cosmetics thing?
Yes, which when we get to that, holy shit, was I like, I can't believe this person is in this TV show. Mm-hmm. But
I thought said person died.
Oh, really?
No,
no, she's on like another show that's like been running for like 6 years. But like, this flashback is so bad. Like, it's the cliche of like, oh, I can't be with that, but it's also like, oh, we need to make her single so that one, she's sad, and two, now we can throw like male suitors at her left and right, which is not something that people learned when we got to Supergirl, because that was like the first season and a half of Supergirl was like almost all like, there was a lot of like, oh, we need to throw men at her, and this seemed to be setting that up, which was just terrible. So after this is when we get back to in the morning, where she has like all these meetings, and they have like a meeting about the dolls, and this is where the mom from the opening shows up.
No, Okay, yeah, because I in my notes the meeting where she's like trying to talk about the corporation that like is doing like the steroids happens. Like the Elizabeth Bank. No, it's not Elizabeth
Elizabeth
Banks. It's
Hurley.
Elizabeth Hurley's. Like she does. Wonder Woman does like that press conference to basically slander Elizabeth Hurley's corporation.
Yes. So before she does that is when the mom of the kid from the
Okay.
beginning shows up. So she shows up like basically. So apparently this is like a very high, like it's kind of like Stark Industries. I don't know what it's supposed to be, but like this woman just like walks through the entire place, and it's not for a while. You're like, oh, and then she takes like a private meeting with her, blowing off everything else she's supposed to do, and it's basically like, oh, is that the guy that like sold drugs to my son? Oh yes, I think it's him, but he's just like part of the problem. And she's like, I wish you would have killed him. This is the one person, and I'm very sad to say, was the worst actress in this whole thing, was this mom. She was so bad. And her, like, if I ever see him, I'll kill him. Like, she was just, like, reading off of a teleprompter bad.
Mm-hmm.
And this entire scene just took me out, because she's like, is she, like, sitting behind her, like, boardroom desk or whatever it is? And then, like, kind of tries to be like, oh, don't worry about that. You shouldn't think about vengeance. That's what I'm good at. It's just a ton of like bad cliche lines to like trying to show her being human. And it just comes off like, I don't like this whole scene is terrible. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe it was.
Yeah. It's like not as bad as the press conference though.
Oh yes, that's what it's like. This whole scene is terrible, but the next scene makes you almost forget that it exists, which is probably why you did, because this press conference where she basically commits slander, because she even says at the end, "I have no evidence to back any of this up."
Yeah, you invited all these people to this press conference because you were like, oh, like it's like she's talking to this lady whose son is in a hospital. She's like, don't worry, we got him, and it's like I got no evidence. I'm like, I feel like you should be playing a little bit more close to the chest than just basically having a press conference and telling people this.
If it was like, oh, I'm Wonder Woman and I'm saying this person is this, but it's like, no, I'm Wonder Woman / Diana Prince, and you're standing inside my company, like my corporation, where we sell toys of me, and I have super jets on the roof. So now I'm also going to say this. Like, if it's one thing, if it's just like a superhero, like if Superman was to talk shit about Lex, like no one can do anything. He's just Superman. No one knows who he is, where he lives. But she's both Wonder Woman and this person with a corporation.
Yeah. Also, there's like a line where she's like talking about all the people who like recently been either hurt or killed by like this synthetic steroid, and she posts up like a picture of like the 6 individuals. She's like, here are these six men, all from the ghetto. And I'm like,
does she use ghetto?
Yes, she's
oh
like,
my God.
all from the ghetto, by the way. And I'm like, oof. What?
Oh, which one thing, I don't think there's any way to figure out if this is true. One of those 6 people, I was 95% sure is the kid from The Blind Side.
Oh, woof.
Yeah. But like, yeah, so it's like 6 young black kids. Because of course, this whole thing takes place in LA, which means it's probably filmed in Toronto. Actually, no, it's probably filmed in LA at like some lot or whatever. Everything is terrible sets as well. Everything is a terrible set in this. But this press conference is horrible, which we learn that Elizabeth Hurley is the head of this, not they wouldn't be GNC, but they're like some vitamin company.
Yeah.
And she plays Veronica Cale, who is also a comic book character, who up until recently, so I think she's like a New 50. No, she was before New 52. But she really, me and Alan were talking before, she kind of hadn't done anything until Rebirth, and then she's actually been a big part of Wonder Woman in Rebirth. And she's basically like she's her Lex Luthor. But she just hates Wonder Woman because Wonder Woman, like Lex hates Superman, because like they're basically a god. And in Wonder Woman's case, she is a god. But seeing Elizabeth Hurley in this, I was like, well, wait. What the hell is going on here? Because in 2011, Elizabeth Hurley was probably relatively big name still.
But it's like, this is like all it like. Also watching this, it just reminded me of like the villain from Catwoman.
Yes, that's exactly what I was thinking. She was totally like Sharon Stone in Catwoman.
It's like, it's like we can't have like an equally like powerful villain for her to fight. So, but like, what if like it was just like, someone who was like the head of like a vitamin company or a cosmetics company or like, something that's like a little bit more frilly, and it's like,
All right, I just looked up. So Elizabeth Hurley was kind of on a downswing. She was not doing much. And basically after this or during this is when she joined Gossip Girl, which kind of restarted her career a bit. So she was definitely in a downturn. But she's also conservatively 15 years older than Adrianne Palicki.
I mean, also, I mean, like I like Elizabeth Hurley a lot, so I was just like I was like, oh hey, cool. Like I haven't seen you like around in anything lately.
She is on she's on the only or one of two scripted shows on E called The Royals, which has gone on for like 4 years.
Oh,
where
cool.
She plays like the Queen of England, but they're like a trashy. I don't know how it's something my wife watches. It's the only reason I know that exists. But yeah, Palicki is currently 35. So this is 8 years ago. So she would have been 20. I can't do math. 27.
Mm-hmm.
And Hurley is 53. So she would have been in her late 40s. So she's about 20 years older. Like, it's just like a weird, if you're setting her up to be the big bad, you would think either like at some point there's going to be some physical altercation, and it'd be really weird to watch somebody beat up a much older person.
Yeah. Well, and it's funny because they make her like so much taller. And there's like a point that I was just like I'm just like, this is like just kind of super silly.
Yeah, well, Palicki is like she is really tall.
Yeah, but I mean, it's just like they have like this big fight, like involving a bunch of guys later, and it's just like the joke is just like, they get to the very end and she's just like, I'm gonna take you down. She's like, oh, like we got all these cameras, and she's like, and then just like throws her to a wall, and like that's it. And I'm like, wait, I thought they were gonna like reveal that she had like superpowers, or like
no, she's just a person who gets beat up by a superhero. She's just a like almost 50-year-old woman that gets beat up by like a 20-something-year-old like superpowered woman. So Palicki is 5'11". I just looked it up.
Mm-hmm.
But I like, yeah. All right, I'm trying to remember where we are in the actual show. So yeah, she has the press conference. And then,
the next scene should be the doll.
Oh god, the boardroom scene, which is so she's having a side conversation with Etta about like what to do about the situation and how the cops aren't going to let her near the guy. And then Cary Elwes is like, "Hey, you guys can talk about that later. We're having this meeting so you can give your input." And this is where Diana realizes that the doll is in front of her, and the basically Barbie doll version of Wonder Woman has giant tits and a giant ass. Like, obscenely huge.
Okay, and it's like really funny because like Cary Elwes is like, you approved this, and she's like, no, I didn't. And I'm like, why? It's like there's like nothing about his character at this point that would assume that he lied. So it's just like, why, why?
Why is
I
she
guess, like,
behaving like this?
why is she acting like a crazy person?
I think it's supposed to be that she's like pissed about the other situation, but at the same time, this is when they're choosing to have her like say her feminist ideals about
Yeah, yeah,
it's
but it's like
so bad.
it's like really bad. It's like feminism written by a guy who's like 55 years old.
Yeah, who took like a women's study course in like the 80s.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like, and this is where, Alan, you can say the line again.
You're monetizing my tits.
Yeah, and she slams on the table with like this huge oomph. It's like, how dare you?
Oh, well, my favorite part of the thing is like, where she like held the doll and she's like, who thinks my breasts are this big? And the one guy starts to raise his hand. I was like, oh.
More than one person raises their hand.
Yeah. Well, it's specifically that one old dude. Like, he's just like, and then Cary Elwes is like, put your goddamn hand down.
Yeah. She'll kill us.
So, yeah, we have, oh my god. I'm trying to, so, this is where, so she loses, we missed one little part. So before this happens, why she's so pissed is because, Edda tells her that the blood sample came back clean. So they super have no evidence whatsoever.
Yeah, maybe you shouldn't have had a press conference.
Yeah.
But, so the next scene is she goes to the hospital. Right?
And no, so I think, does she tell her the blood sample is bad and the kid is dead at the same time?
No, because the kid, she says the kid's dead, and that's like when she is like gonna go assault the compound.
Okay, yeah. So this is where she goes to the hospital, and this is where we run into babyface Pedro Pascal.
Yeah, the worst cop.
Yeah, who literally, well, first off,
no, he's a liaison to the cops.
Yeah, so he is a cop, but he's like her liaison. But first, I have to talk about the first cop and that initial. So after she has this whole, you're monetizing my tits, she then confronts a cop protecting this thing and is like, you're going to let me through the room. And he's like, no. And she's like, look at the way I'm dressed. This outfit gets me where I want to go. I was like, oh, so it's okay to like say you're not going to monetize my tits, but I also dress like this to get me into places by using my sexuality.
Yeah, it was a really bad placement of scenes.
I was like, you're just like, you're killing what you just did. Like, it makes no sense.
And like, I mean, to be honest, it's like you could also easily have read that scene as like her talking about like, her strength. But again,
but she says outfit specifically.
Exactly. It's just.
Do you think the editor had like some kind of like vendetta against Warner Brothers?
Well, this is a NBC show, so I don't think.
No.
I don't think it's more. It's not, to me. It's less about like the editor. I think this is the writing. Like, they wrote the scene in. So either you have to have her be like this feminist character, which I think works great for Wonder Woman, or you can have her use her sexuality, which is in this. You actually can't. I don't think there's any way where you can have her do this scene and it come off as anything but gross. Because it's once again a 50-year-old dude writing this female character, and it just comes off so bad. Especially compared to what we eventually get in a Wonder Woman, which once we finish talking about this actual episode, I really want to compare the movie as well as Supergirl to this show. But yeah, and then so Pedro Pascal comes in and is like, all right, you go away, guy, and I'll give you a couple minutes, and I never saw you here. But that other cop did. And then she goes in and lays her shitty-looking lasso on his chest and then crushes his hand.
And she didn't even need to do that. She tortures a guy.
Yes, which...
Wonder Woman tortures a guy.
Well, I'm trying to remember. Is it after this that they say the Albert Grape thing, or was it earlier on?
The Abu Ghraib thing was earlier.
Okay, because then it's her meeting later on where the torture stuff comes back up. So one of the things, so like in one of the news things earlier, they refer to it as the lasso of truth, which she could have, if they have her using it, she could have actually used to get the information out of him. But instead, she beats the shit out of him. Which, again, like a lot of this show makes no sense. It's written by a goddamn lawyer, and all she does is like break the law or make herself kind of in a position where she's just going to get sued or like have everything confiscated by the US government and thrown in jail.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm trying to remember. The next thing is when she comes back with like the information, and this is when she's told the kid died, I believe.
No. So she has like she gets back and she has like a meeting with someone who works for
She has a meeting.
The criminal justice department.
Okay, yeah. So this is where she has so they're like, oh, you're gonna have a meeting with a senator and then this is also where they've been talking about like that Elizabeth Hurley's character has connections to like a ton of people in the government.
Yeah, well, and it's just like,
oh no, wait, she actually meets Elizabeth Hurley first, right?
Yeah, yes, you're right. Like Elizabeth Hurley shows up, and like she's just like, hey, like, can you kind of chill it out? And like Wonder Woman's like, why don't I just throw you out a window, or like, why don't I just like break your face? Or I'm just like, what? Who is this character? Like who like it was just like at this point, like I mean, totally beforehand, but really it was like up to this point, I was just like, man, like David Kelley just kind of just basically wrote what he thought like a superhero woman sounded like.
It's terrible because the thing is, like Elizabeth Hurley, everything that she's doing is right. Like maybe not like her illegal stuff, but like everything she says is factually correct. Like she is not wrong in all of her statements. She's like, you just can't like say that stuff. Like I'm just going to sue you to death. And then I believe after this is this, I think when they have the weird talk between her and Kelley and Cary Elwes about like being lonely.
Yeah.
And they flash back again to Steve Trevor for like a minute.
Mm-hmm.
Which is still
and that's like when we find out it's like, oh, like I can't, my enemies would like try and hurt you, and I'm like, I haven't seen any of your enemies like really attacking the people that are close to you.
And
so,
who are your enemies? Like a CEO of a company? Who's a person?
The lady who makes tainted steroids?
Oh my god. And then after this flashback is where we get the meeting, and she goes and meets oh my god. Let me go to the thing. Because the person she meets is a famous actor. It is Edward Herrmann, also known as Richard Gilmore from Gilmore Girls, also known as Richie Rich's father in Richie Rich. He's also the husband in Overboard. He was in Annie. He's in like a ton of stuff. He has passed away since. He was also in Harry's Law, which was another David E. Kelley thing. He's been in a million things. He's like an amazing character actor. He was in Oz, The Practice, another David E. Kelley thing. Like, he's been around forever. And this is basically the senator who's tied in with Cole and has, like, they go to dinner and basically ask her all these questions to try to catch her. And she doesn't get, like, she checks him on all that. And then he's like, yeah, well, it doesn't matter. Like, you're a vigilante who just, like, beats the shit out of and tortures people. And
but it's like, why did, okay, like the big to do about like this dinner is that this guy like wants to possibly file criminal charges against the Themyscira
against the company, her,
because
and possibly seize it all.
Because they might be funding money to Wonder Woman, who runs the company. And I'm like, I mean,
Well, it's a couple of things. It's like
this is like playing chess where you have every piece on the board and they only have the king's part. It's like
Yeah.
it's a slam dunk. Of course, the person who is heading the company, who also happens to be Wonder Woman, is probably funneling money into her being Wonder Woman.
Yeah, well, it's like she's profiting from her criminal activities so they can take the company. And then I think the other thing is that they're wondering or not if she's basically an off-the-books person working for the LAPD and the FBI.
Yeah, and like when you see her talking to other cops in hallways, it's pretty obvious that you could easily build a case.
Yes. It's why it's terrible. And then he basically, like, she's like, oh, like, he's like, oh, but too bad, like, I can't afford, like, this bottle of wine. She's like, oh, the $700 bottle of wine. He's like, yeah, thanks for the dinner. And she's like, oh, have you had many dinners like this with Veronica Cale? And he just, like, stares at her and he's like, goodbye.
Yeah.
And it's like, of course he's, like, part of that. Like, I guess this is their version of, like, saying, like, big companies and, like, corporate money going into politicians.
Yep.
But it's so dumb. Okay, and then after this is when she comes back from this dinner and she finds out that the kid died.
Yeah.
And then she loses her shit. She has the information on the facility from the guy that she beat the shit out of. And then Cale tells her hench dude in a tank top that Wonder Woman's probably going to come and they have to protect the... what does she call it? Like the medical thing or...
Like the medical hangar or whatever.
Like at all costs. And then when Wonder Woman shows up, she's all of a sudden in a different outfit, which did they explain why she's in these trunks now?
No.
Okay, because she's basically wearing the bottoms from the old Wonder Woman TV show now, where she's showing off all her legs.
Yeah, which I think it was like, yeah, it's strange.
Yes, so it's not like a skirt, it's literally like a bikini bottom that's connected. It's basically a bathing suit she's now completely wearing.
Yeah, and she's fighting like a bunch of bodybuilders. Like it's like kind of comical because I like paused on it. I just like looked at the one shot of the guy standing forward and behind him were all the bodybuilders, and I could have sworn that they were all posing.
Oh yeah, it's like Attack of Venice Beach, like Pumping Iron versus Wonder Woman, and in this fight, which is choreographed terribly and looks terrible, she straight up murders like 5 of them.
Well, okay, so it's like kind of implied that it's like, oh, she could have like, beaten up some of these guys, like.
Well, she like crushes 2 of them between like, what I don't even know what those things are called, like those storage things.
Well, no, it hit the side, so it like to me it looked like they just trapped them in.
Oh, it looked like she like kicked the 2. I don't know, but the last guy she straight up murders.
Yeah, the last guy she throws a pipe and it goes through his neck.
Yeah, and he falls on the floor through the door, knocking the door down, and there's blood underneath it.
Yeah, Wonder Woman totally fucking kills a guy.
Oh man, Alan, you missed out on that part. You'll have to watch that.
That was like, I was like, man, this fight seems like not bad, I guess, but because it was kind of because pilot. Because it was kind of funny because they keep in like all of the
Oh, to see all the wires and stuff? Because they didn't get to remove it.
And like that stuff was like super funny. But then it was just, and I was like, man, but like this fight's like kind of boring. Like I'm not really feeling it. And then she kills that guy, and I'm just like, holy shit, I'm on board.
Yeah, I was like not paying attention. I was doing the exact same thing. I was like, and then I just saw like the pipe come through. I was like, what just happened? And I was like, oh wait, did she like just like stun that guy? And then like it goes, and no, this pipe is sticking out of his neck, and he's on the floor, and there's blood coming out. And I referred to it later too, that like she kills people. Yeah,
she's like, and you even killed some of my men, and I'm like, oh, did she kill more people than that guy?
That's what I'm saying. I think it's also implied that she killed those 2 guys with that like those storage things. Like she squished them.
Yeah. Oh my god, that was wild.
And then she basically confronts Elizabeth Hurley, who's like, hey, dummy, we have cameras here. So you're on camera illegally trespassing, assaulting, and murdering my employees who were just defending the property. So, yeah, you're done. And she's just like, oh, yeah? Picks her up against the wall and just bitch slaps her to the ground.
Yeah.
And then, finds a bunch of weird mutant people in another room. Mutated human beings.
Yeah. And I'm like, what does this have to do with tainted steroids?
I think it's implying that whatever concoction they're creating is mutating them.
What?
Yeah.
Yes, you have to see, Alan, go watch the last 5 minutes, really quick. Just skip through it. One, watch her kill someone, and then there's a bunch of, bald-headed, sloth from the Goonies looking people.
Oh, no. Sloth gave me nightmares.
Yeah, but I mean, it looks like where they have, not really hair, and their faces are all jacked up.
Yeah, or, if you saw RoboCop, it's
that was the other thing, yeah.
The guy who falls in the toxic waste.
Oh, you mean that doctor dude from ER?
Yeah.
But, oh my god. And basically, then it cuts to, Pedro Pascal comes in and is like, oh, we'll bring them to the hospital. Then we go back to Themyscira Industries. And she's basically like, oh, the person that's the liaison for the Justice Department is here. You need to go meet him now. And she's like, And then she changes into a red silk robe.
Yeah, to meet the Justice Department guy?
Yes, exactly. And she's just chilling on her couch. Going to meet him.
We can't let this guy know that Wonder Woman and Diana Prince are the same person. So I'll just go put on my red nightie. No one will suspect a thing.
This is what's so confusing. I thought it was known in this world that she is the same person.
It is.
So
that's
then
why it makes no sense.
And then the person turns out to be none other than Steve Trevor.
Yeah.
And then the big reveal is that he's now married.
Oh, wait. Okay, I forgot about this. When Diana Prince, after killing multiple men and bringing this woman to justice, she goes back to her headquarters and she steps on an elevator and everyone's all clapping for her and be like, oh, there's this sound bit where these women are like, we love you, Wonder Woman.
It's the same bit that they have when she's running in the beginning.
Yes! Yes!
It's the exact same audio clip. I noticed that too. Oh my god.
I'm so glad I didn't watch this.
Oh, it's so good.
You have to watch her murdering that person though, Alan. Please try to find that real quick.
That I will watch.
So that she finds out Steve Trevor's married, and she's like, oh, I hope you're happy. And he's like, I hope you're happy too. And she's like, yeah, I've totally been dating because this is a 90s sitcom. And so they're like, okay, you guys pass, blah, blah, blah. And he pieces out.
Yeah, and she's like, oh, I see you got married. I'm like, why are you upset?
Yeah, you dumped him.
Yeah, you dumped him.
So this also implies that, so she left him. So those flashbacks are from how long ago would it take him to decide that he's ready to meet someone else, date them for a period, and then get married?
Yeah, I wrote that down too. I was like, how much time passed between them breaking up in this?
It's at least gotta be 2 years, right?
To quote another 90s sitcom, they were on a break.
Oh god.
Yeah, but it was like, why are your employees still trying to tell you to go get back with Steve Trevor?
I know, because it seemed like it was them setting it up because they know about him, don't they? Cary Elwes in that weird heart-to-heart talks about him, and is like, oh, why did you guys break up? What happened?
Yeah, what happened to you guys?
And then so the final ending is her back at her Diana Prince persona in her house, chilling with her black and white cat Sylvester, logging onto her giant Mac, and creating a Facebook account for Diana Prince where she puts friends, Sylvester, and then stares at the screen sadly. Fate's
Oh, yeah. What like a sad ending for that show.
Like, this show is comically terrible. Like, that's what, like, so we watched the Aquaman one. The Aquaman one it's not great, but it's also very expensive looking.
Can I also like talk about how Steve Trevor is like, oh yeah, I have that guy's job now, and I'm like gonna like, and I just came here to tell you that you have like nothing to worry about. And I'm like, wait, so the United States government is colluding with Wonder Woman to hide her crimes that she killed a guy?
Well, not just that, it's like you killed guys, you run this like vigilante thing where you have these super advanced planes, like 6 of them on your roof. You fly around breaking all sorts of airspace codes to go and beat the shit out of, torture, and murder people. Like, she's Batman, except no one gives a shit that, like, she's Batman who kills, she's the Punisher, but because she's a woman and wears red, white, and blue, and everybody knows who she is, no one gives a shit. Because, like, it doesn't make any sense whatsoever how she can be, like, this open persona and no one cares. And the fact that they give her 3 personas is the dumbest thing I've ever seen. Like, it makes no sense why Diana Themyscira and Diana Prince are different.
Yeah, man, it is wild.
Oh my god. So, this is a hot piece of garbage. So, overall, I think everyone could pretty much tell how we feel overall. I think the biggest problem for me is that whole... never mind. There's not... Everything is a big problem, except for the acting. I think the acting is actually not terrible.
Except for that one, the mother.
Because I think it's just like they just got like nothing to work with.
They got nothing to work with. The writing is just garbage. Like,
has David Kelley done anything since this?
Yeah.
I mean, aside from Harrod's Law and all that.
I'm like,
well, I know I'm pretty sure he got divorced. I'm clicking his IMDb now.
He's
oh no, he's still married to Michelle Pfeiffer.
He did a Amazon Studio show. He's got a show on HBO.
Oh, he's doing Big Little Lies, which is a gigantic series on HBO with like Nicole Kidman, and the cast is actually goddamn insane for that show.
Nicole Kidman, Reese Witherspoon,
Shailene Woodley, Zoe Kravitz, Laura Dern, Adam Scott's on it. And what's her name? That's everybody loves. That's the big name actress is joining it. That's won like 50 Oscars.
Whoopi Goldberg?
No. Shit, why can't I think of her name right now? She's legitimately won like every Oscar. Crap.
Big Little Lies is the show.
Yep, it's on HBO. It's actually like supposed to be amazing. I have not watched it.
Meryl Streep?
Yeah, that's who I was thinking of. Meryl Streep is joining that show. So,
mean?
Oh, Adam Scott's on the show? That's cool.
Yes. It's a show, I think they're all like, it's about the women, and they're all like women in different types of relationships.
But they're all mothers.
But they're all mothers. But they're all also like shitty people, kind of. It's like a show about like people who live kind of like in the Hamptons kind of thing.
Oh, so the 1%, huh?
Yeah, I don't know. It's like one of these weird things. Yeah, they're all like kind of wealthy people who are like pieces of shit. But yeah, he's still doing like big things. So, but the writing in this show is awful. the costume is not good. It really isn't. But I think it was just like a thing of the era, because so this is post Smallville, where they had like no costumes whatsoever, or when they were the kind of super leather kind of stuff that we saw early on in Arrow and Flash. And they definitely weren't going with like a movie quality. Like this suit has like very little money put into it.
Lou, just wait until we get to the JSA two-parter.
Oh yeah, I remember some of those. The Blue Beetle costume is so bad.
No, I'm talking about the Dr. Fate costume.
Oh yes, but I actually think I actually like the boots and the pants. I don't mind the bracelets.
I thought you were talking about that pilot they did for Justice League in the 90s.
Oh no,
no.
That's maybe we'll have to watch that at some point.
There's Martian Manhunter. Looks like he ate Martian Manhunter.
Oh my god. But actually, like looking at this suit, like the top is the part that's like the problem, because it looks like, I get the criticisms of it looking like a Halloween costume. Like I don't mind like that is the biggest problem I have with it. Like I don't mind the belt. I don't mind like the symbol. I don't mind the kind of minimalist look of it. I like the stars down the pants that they ended up with. I don't get why they put her in the bathing suit thing at the end. Unless that was filmed like way beforehand, before those pants were made.
That's her battle outfit. Like that's her serious battle outfit.
And the other one's her track outfit.
Yeah. But yeah, it's just like, yeah, the costume sucks, fighting sucks, dialogue sucks, villain sucks. It's such a bummer, and it's just a total pits. And it's great that we just didn't get this as a full series.
But it's like
it's Gotham bad.
Yeah, but the concepts just make no sense. Like the whole Mascara company, she flies around a jet to get around LA, so I guess she doesn't have to sit in the traffic. But she's straight up flying a visible one-seat airplane, like not even airplane, like a spaceship looking thing that she has several. It looks like a Quinjet. Like it looks like the Quinjet stuff in the Marvel, except it's white. And because like I don't mind Cary Elwes, I don't mind the woman playing Etta, like I don't mind that whole dynamic. It just doesn't make sense for Wonder Woman. Like unless like this show would make sense if Diana Prince was the CEO of this company, and it was some sort of company using her knowledge of stuff from being an Amazonian to be a philanthropist to help people, and then Wonder Woman's like an alternate persona. Like that would make sense. Kind of what we ended up getting with the kind of flashes of Diana in Wonder Woman and Justice League movies, where in current day she has like a day job where she's this kind of art historian. Like that part would make like you have to separate them. There isn't a show. Well, I guess they're actually kind of doing it currently on Arrow, but like it's also 8 seasons in. Like to have your character openly be out there in a TV show makes no sense, because you're also like getting rid of the whole who's gonna find, like you have to protect your secret identity. Like it makes no sense why they went that way. Like there's no reason for this whole corporate bullshit. I don't understand why that's even a thing. It makes no sense whatsoever. And all it does is hinder the story.
Yeah, it's baffling.
Yeah, because again, this is where we can jump into some comparisons. I'll first start with Supergirl, obviously because it's a TV show and it came out first. I think season 1 Supergirl came out before Wonder Woman did, or BVS. But like, it's a different character. They play the characters. They're supposed to kind of be the same age, but like part of the reason why the Supergirl show worked so well, because actually of the CW universe shows had the best cast going into it. Which is funny because they had Calista Flockhart in season 1. But it works so well because they delve really hard into her. Like Supergirl isn't the real her. it's like her putting on that outfit is just her like doing this thing when Kara is the real her. And so there's actual duality between them, as opposed to in this where it's just straight up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it just doesn't make any goddamn sense. And like, I get that there's different technologies in the suit and stuff like that, and the VFX aren't done, but like the writing is just so bad. Like you said it best. Like, this is a 50-year-old man writing what he thinks a female superhero should be. What connection does he have to that world? Because all the other stuff that he's ever done, all it has to do with like legal stuff, because he was a lawyer.
No, I guarantee you this is what it was. It's like, because like I think like a lot of people kind of like forget like how big Alec McBeal was for like the time that it was coming out.
It was the biggest show on
for
TV.
like the 2000s. Like that was like kind of like the most prominent female-led show of that time, and it's like, you know, it's like if you're going to get a guy to do a TV version of like the most prominent female superhero character in the world, it's like, oh, like let's get the guy who's at least has a track record of writing female characters, and that was David E. Kelley,
and the guy who fired Robert Downey Jr.
I mean, Robert Downey Jr. in the 2000s wasn't
he was a mess.
in the best of places.
Yeah, he was in some family's home that he didn't know.
This was the 90s.
Yeah, or like 90s.
But like at the same time, though, like why not make her a lawyer then? Why not make Diana Prince like a ACLU type lawyer? That would have worked.
I mean, or
she's been a lawyer in the comics before. Like,
yeah,
make Diana Prince a lawyer.
Maybe he just didn't want to be typecasted also as the lawyer guy,
which he then literally went right back to after this.
Yeah, I mean, hey, go back to what you know.
But like, it just, everything is so, just makes no sense whatsoever. Which is, I guess, in a way, a good thing because of what we ended up getting with Gal Gadot. Like, so as much as I don't like Snyder's vision of stuff, what Patty Jenkins ended up doing, and even Wonder Woman in Batman BVS is like, she's the best part of that entire goddamn thing. And yes, there's a bigger budget, but even like the simple aspects of her costume is so much better designed, of just like having the kind of Grecian skirt. Like everything else is like not too far off, like except she has like kind of battle boots. But like it's hard to compare some of the stuff. And what's funny is, though, I honestly would say going into it, Adrianne Palicki was probably a more established actress than Gal Gadot was. Because what did she do before Wonder Woman besides Fast and Furious?
I mean, Fast and Furious was her first role.
Yeah, and she did like 4 of them.
I mean, Fast and Furious is pretty good.
So she was in Fast and Furious, so that's the 4th one. Then she did a 1 episode of Entourage, some show I've never heard of, The Beautiful Life.
Fast 4, Fast 5, Fast 6.
Like, there's a bunch of shows that are probably Israeli TV shows. And then BVS.
I mean, regardless of what she ended up doing before, it's just like they nailed that casting. Yeah, she's like a diamond in the rough.
Well, yes, because she's a goddamn like gorgeous Israeli woman who is.
And when I say the rough, I mean the rough being Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice.
Oh, I actually would say that's less rough than Justice League.
I think Dawn of Justice is a way worse film than Justice League. I actually do not mind Justice League.
So I just wanted to look and see.
Justice League is a bad movie, but I think Justice League is a better movie than Batman v Superman.
All right, so before this show,
Look, I'm just saying, there were two moments there was a moment in Wonder Woman, or in this Wonder Woman pilot, like the monetizing my tits, and then and the complete 180 in the Wonder Woman film, but the ice cream scene.
oh yes, well, the ice cream scene, was that done in the movie first, or was that done in the animated thing first?
I'm pretty sure it was done in the movie first.
Okay, that is an amazing scene. But there are things like Wonder Woman, the movie, is a very good movie. There are things that I had issues with it. But it is also like the best thing to come out of the DCEU, which doesn't really exist anymore, but that's like a whole nother conversation. But just to go really quick, so Palicki before this pilot, so her third thing ever was being on Smallville, which she was in the season finale of season 3.
As Supergirl. Or the fake Supergirl.
Yes, then she did a couple of other shows, the Aquaman pilot.
Friday Night Lights.
Yeah, she did Supernatural. She was in a handful of episodes. Something called Titan Maximum, a bunch of voiceover work.
Oh, Titan Maximum is cool.
Yeah.
That was like the stop motion show that Seth Green was doing.
Yeah, well, she also did a bunch of Robot Chicken stuff as well.
Yeah.
And she was in Legion, which is the weird angel movie with Paul Bettany and Tyrese. And also Willa Holland, who went on to be in Arrow.
She is basically Sarah Connor.
Yes. And then...
And that's literally the Bible version of Terminator.
Yeah, and then she did Friday Night Lights for a long time, for years, and went into Wonder Woman. So she was kind of like much more, especially for TV. Like,
she was a big name.
Yeah.
I mean, she still is.
She was definitely a bigger name at the time. But she's kind of been stuck in this, like, she's TV, which she's found her spot in Orville, it seems. But she's kind of this weird TV person. But yeah, I don't know, like it's hard to compare to the movie. I think there's better comparisons comparing to the other TV shows that have come out around like just before, during, and after this, and especially compared to what we've seen on Legends of Tomorrow and Supergirl from the CW stuff, even what we've seen on like, oh my god, there's even the Smallville stuff, like the writing was just so bad on this. Like I can't get over how terrible the writing was. And also the garbage sets. Like what's funny is this probably had the biggest budgets of like all of those shows' pilots, except for maybe, I can't even think, maybe Legends had a bigger budget because it's a lot of special effects, but it was also the third show in the Arrowverse. But like this show, they put money into this show and it looks so bad. Like the sets and stuff, I know they were going to do VFX and stuff, but just the concepts of everything are terrible. I do think it is funny that they reused the suit in an episode of David E. Kelley's show later on. That is the picture I added after the Wonder Woman thing. So that's, how do you say her name, Alan? Erica Durance?
Yeah.
So she played Lois on Smallville, and then she was also in that show. And it's literally the exact same costume that they had from the pilot that they used in Harry's Law, that she wears for like a Halloween episode, I think. I'm not sure. So what else, was there anything else you guys wanted to touch on?
No, man. I think I've pretty much said my piece on this show.
Yeah.
there are worse pilots, DC pilots out there. Avengers of Super Pup, which I guarantee, which I really want to watch.
I don't think I've ever seen that.
It's called Adventures of Super Pup.
Yeah, it's basically the Adventures of Superman with like the George Reeves show, but everything's
Whoa!
Yeah,
This looks amazing.
Yeah.
What is this?
Oh my god! What do you mean this is worse? This looks so good.
This is oof. When is this?
it was during the 50s. No, the 60s.
Oh,
Or-
but for
or-
like the
This is before the Batman TV show, the Adam West Batman TV show.
I would be perfectly fine watching this after we finish season 3. This is weird.
Yeah. This looks great.
This looks
I was expecting like it was gonna be like Crypto, and he was gonna be like a talking
Nope.
dog, and I was
Nope.
like, okay, I'm like kind of on board with this. Like, no, this is like if you're like near a phone or whatever, Google The Adventures of Super Pup. But if you're not near anything, it's basically imagine Superman, but he has like a dog head,
all right.
like
I haven't.
like a Pluto the dog head.
Yeah, so basically the premise for this world is instead of Howard the Duck, where everything is ducks, everybody is dogs.
Well, no,
Oh my!
not
everyone's
just dogs,
dog.
animals.
Okay, what I'm reading on Wikipedia, it says instead of humans, they're dogs. So all the talking characters instead are dogs, but maybe that's different in the actual episodes.
Holy shit! I've never heard of this.
I've
This
never
is
heard of this.
amazing.
But like the head is so like this is like that weird like era where this is so what is this 58 where it's like that weird trippy like
Oh my god! Do you know what Super Pump's like real name is?
okay, so instead of Clark oh, I just saw it. Oh my god.
Bark Bent.
And I'm guessing the Lois Lane is Pamela Poodle.
Yep.
And there's Terry Bite.
And instead of the Daily Planet, it's the Daily Bugle.
Oh my god.
Yes. This is.
Oh yeah,
this
Terry Bite instead of Perry White.
Perry White.
Is there like a full pilot for this?
Yeah, there's a full pilot. It was included in the Smallville box set.
Oh, interesting. Along with Aquaman was that way too.
Oh my god! I have to. Oh my god! I have to find this. I have to watch this.
I wonder if it's on the DC Universe app.
It's not. I checked.
Okay. Dude, these images are bonkers. Okay.
If you could find like a full episode for me and post it in here, like I will watch that like tomorrow. Like I will play that at work because I know my coworkers will love it.
All right. So I think this is something we should also share with other people because this is the most insane thing.
This is too good to not tell other people.
All right. I think that wraps it up for this episode, and we now have a thing to do after season 3. So I guess that does it for this. So we will catch you. Me and Al will catch you guys in the next episode. I guess quick plugs. John, you want to go first?
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, you can find me on Twitter at John JOHN _FN _Seiler SEILER. I usually post up stuff about my work and comics and stuff. You can also find me under the same handle on Instagram and a bunch of other gaming platforms. So I'm not hard to find.
Yep, and every week, so you can check out on Tuesdays within the Phantom Zone, Smallville Chronicles. This is part of that. This is a bonus episode. Every Thursday, we have And Now Comics, which is me usually me, Alan, John, and Connor Irving do that, and sometimes one time Connor McGraw, even though he tries to get on more often. And then also every Thursday, part of the Los Haro podcast empire, we have Legion of Tunes, which is me, Alan, and now a lot of the time John as well. Where we watch and talk about all things animated. And also part of that network is Alan's other show, Los Haro Games. And when does that come out, Al?
That releases every Sunday. There's also the PlayStation All-Stars Battle Royale bonus series we're doing right now. I also have 3 LPs currently running on the Los Haro Games channel on YouTube. Saturday morning Yu-Gi-Oh! Star Trek Evolution, and a playthrough of all the Walking Dead Telltale games.
That is awesome. I just have to share one more image to this group. So on the left is the, obviously from this TV show. Do you know what the thing on the right is from?
A porno?
Exactly. And it looks so much better, strangely. Except for the bottoms are obviously much more revealing, but the top part of the suit actually looks amazing. And I believe this is from around the same time, which is why it's part of the photo compilations from stuff.
I imagine this would have been around the time of Dawn of Justice.
No, there's that. This is from something earlier, I believe. I can click the info and see when it was from. And hopefully this doesn't take me to a very bad site. So, all right, I have the name of the adult film. Let me see if I can figure out what year it's from. I'm pretty sure this is old. It says 2015, so it's 4 years later.
Yeah, this would have been the around the time of Dawn of Justice.
Okay. Still in 4 years, it's still
Hey man, you're asking the guy who works for a porn company. I know what I'm talking about.
All right. You gonna provide people with some free codes?
I'm actually
joking.
like, I don't have any free codes on me.
I'm mostly joking.
Okay.
All right, so we will catch you guys next time. Watching a better show, Smallville.
Or this Super Pup show.
Yeah, the Super Pup show. Usually we go out with Alan saying something, but I think you can, Alan, can you take us out with your favorite line of this episode?
Are you seriously going to monetize my tits?
I don't think you're gonna